Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. But if you're new here, my name is Brittany. I'm a Chicago-based lifestyle content creator and I'm starting to edit this video that you're about to watch, and I realized I never filmed an intro for it. So I'm doing that right now after like everything's already been recorded. So a little bit of a backwards work in progress. But anyway, it's been a whirlwind of a few days, weeks, whatever. As you could probably tell from the title of this video, I am officially a first-time home buyer, well, condo buyer. I just bought a condo. I closed a few days ago. So today's, I think Wednesday. Yeah, I think today's Wednesday. I closed on Friday, so almost a week ago now. And I basically vlogged pretty much my whole process of what I went through, or like the kind of the step by, not even step by step, just like how I got to the point of like from when I first was thinking about like purchasing something. So basically this video is gonna start, like this vlog will start, I think almost 6 months ago. I wanna say October is when I first started vlogging. And then I just kind of like followed along on the journey of like doing my mortgage pre-approval, like figuring out what I really wanted, looking at properties, and then kind of like everything that happened from there. And honestly, like aside from the fact that it will kind of be cool to look back on this video like years down the road to like have captured this moment in time. I also, like when I was kind of starting to get into this journey, we'll say, I hate saying that, but journey, I was kind of trying to find, because I honestly, didn't know many people. Like I am a, like I said, I'm a first-time home buyer. I also am single, so I like kind of was going through this by myself. Like this is all like money that I've earned by myself. Like I wasn't really like gifted any money. I don't have any inheritance, anything like that. So truly, like I just like saved money, figured out a budget that works for myself. And I mean, I live in Chicago, so it's not New York or LA or anything, but it's not like small town America. So I was just having a hard time finding someone, like finding like to get advice or just to know, like I had literally no idea really like what it took or like what the steps are, like how do you even get to this point. So I thought it would be like cool, I guess, to share. I thought it would be like interesting to share that, because I'm sure there's other people out there who might be like in the same place and like just looking for like, yeah, what do I do? Like, not that I'm an expert now, but just to see, like you can see like kind of how things went. And it does feel like a very big, like it feels like a very big accomplishment in general, but especially like I'll say maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, just even like that recently, I was truly living paycheck to paycheck. Like I really like, my credit score was interesting. It wasn't bad, but it was not great. Like I very much feel like I made a lot of leaps and bounds in terms of like finances over the past few years, and like really got my act together. So this is realistic. Real people can do this. Times are tough obviously right now, but there are ways to like make things work for you. So anyway, all that to say, that's basically what the purpose of this vlog is. Like the clips that you're gonna see starting next, I think will be from October, like I said. So we'll run it back to the beginning of the process and then close it out basically a week ago from now. So it's like we're going back into time and then coming back into current day. So anyway, thank you for watching and I hope you enjoy it. So it's just under, so it's middle of October. Actually, it's late October now. I'm just under 6 months out from when my lease ends. So as of like almost about a week ago, I've really started like this home buying journey, this home buying adventure journey. Home buying, I'm saying in quotes because also like I have no nails on right now, but home buying, I'm saying in quotes because ultimately I'm gonna end up buying a condo, not like a home. I mean, it'll be my home, but not like a single family home, I guess, is what people like traditionally think of when buying a home. But so I've been living in Chicago at this point for almost 9 years. Like in December, it'll be 9 years. And I've been renting in general for, I mean, I'm 36, so probably like what, 15, 16 years, which is so crazy to think about, that I've been doing anything for that, that period of time. But I mean, like I said, I'm 36, so I'm entering into my late 30s now. And I am in a much better financial place than I feel like I was even like 5 years ago. It's kind of crazy how quickly like things change, but I've been fortunate enough that like in this job I have now, like my current job, I had a pretty big pay increase. Like I ended up having almost like a 25%, or maybe even 25% pay increase in my base salary. A pretty good bonus percentage increase too, which obviously if your base salary is already higher, then your bonus ends up being higher on top of that. And so I was able to, like, I feel like I've really been able to like save money these past few years because like I feel like I maybe am representing a very normal type of person that like exists out there in the home buying world. Because I feel like when I was looking into things about being a first-time home buyer or whatever it is, like most of the information is, it's a lot of couples, like married couples, like buying their first home together, which that's great. But that's 2 incomes. And also a lot of people that have somehow gotten some inheritance or some like large lump sum of money from their parents or someone in their family. And I don't fall into either of those realms. Or people that that are like, oh, I save $2,000 a month or something and I have $100,000 saved. I don't know how people do that. I guess it depends on where you live and like what your cost of living is, but I am just like a normal person. I am single, so I live by myself. I support myself financially, like, and I have for a long time. I don't come from like generational wealth, so I don't have some like inheritance or some large lump sum of money that is like going to be coming my way anytime soon. I have student loans. I've paid them down a lot, which again is, I feel like, a benefit of having my job or like my salary increase over the past few years. And now my like total loan balance it's like $8,000 or $9,000, which feels so manageable and like easy to chunk away at because the interest is not accruing as fast as it was before, which like felt so unmanageable. And so as of like a few years ago, I've really like, I don't have any credit card debt. Yeah, I don't have any credit card debt. I don't have a car, so I don't have any kind of a car loan. So literally my only debts right now are my student loans, and I like have a low 6-figure digit salary, so I feel like I'm living pretty comfortably. And rent has just been increasing and increasing and increasing, as it has everywhere, I feel like, for the past few years. And I know that I really like living in Chicago. Like I love Chicago. I don't see myself leaving anytime soon on my own decision. So I was like, you know what? But I mean, obviously you never know what life holds, but I was like, why not just buy something, if I can make it work and it like makes sense for me, buy a condo or a property to live in instead of continually like finding new apartments every couple of years, because that's an exhausting process in itself. But rent's always going up, and so it's like, well, now I can't afford to live here. Like my last apartment, my rent went up by $500 if I was going to re-sign my lease. So obviously I did not re-sign, and I moved into this apartment, and I had a really, really bad experience with the property management company when I moved in here. That made me like realize how like that basically I like didn't know if I was gonna have a place to live because of like what was going on. Essentially, like they were pretty much scamming me, and I was like, I don't like living like this, or like having to feel like someone else is in control of like literally my livelihood. So anyway, all that to say, earlier this year I was like, okay, I think I am gonna try to buy a place when my lease ends in 2025. So I just kind of was like collecting information, like figuring out, is this even something that I'm capable and possible, like able to do, just because, like I said, I'm a normal person, I'm a single person, I don't have like, I'm not sitting on some massive amounts of wealth. But I feel like there's so much information that's gatekept about the home buying process and like how to do that and what it means. And it seems very scary until you like learn the reality of it. And I'm sure that's intentional to keep people out of that space at times. And I also happened to meet someone in my monthly dinner club actually that is a realtor, and I started kind of like following her like website and stuff, and like she's like someone I like know and feel comfortable like with working with in terms of like having a realtor. And then I had just been doing a lot of free, like, you know, there's always those free like mortgage calculators and stuff online, again, to see like, is this even reasonable for me to do? Like, can I afford this? And a lot of mortgages seem to be like exactly the same as what I'm paying in rent, or a little bit less, or even if some are a little bit more. It's like I live in a 1-bedroom apartment now, and like I've seen some where potentially my monthly payment would be maybe $200 more than what I'm paying now, but for like a 2-bedroom place, which you can't rent a 2-bedroom for like that price basically. So I'm excited to see where this journey goes. I did, like I said, as of about a week ago, I got pretty more serious and locked in on this. I submitted a mortgage pre-approval application, and I'm not that I didn't think I would get approved, but you just like never know. And the realtor the real estate agent that I've been working with that I mentioned, her husband is actually a lender. So she like gave me his info, and I submitted everything through there. And like I might still like shop around, like once I'm more seriously know like what type of property and price I'm looking, like getting a little bit more locked in, I might shop around just to like make sure I'm getting the best rate. But he was super, super helpful and answered all the questions that I had about things like down payment assistance, like different loan types, all of that. And what I submitted my application for, like, because I put in like what I'm basically was asking for. I know oftentimes when people submit pre-approvals, they give you the max of what you could basically get, which is most of the time out of people's budgets. But he just said like, you are approved for like what you said, for what you asked for. And I put in like I have $300,000 as like my like cap. I would like to be under that, but I was like, that's kind of like, I would like to not go too much past that. But he was like, you can go far beyond this if you want, but like, and if it gets to that, we can just like resubmit he was like, just let me know and we can work it out. But in terms of buying a condo, especially in like Chicago, the home value price or the home purchase price is important, but less so important, or not as important as like what the monthly payment ends up being, because there's like taxes and HOA and all of that makes a difference, and that's all different depending on like different parts of the city. So it's kind of just like a balancing act if you make it all work for you. So anyway, from here, basically I'm just gonna kind of keep like I'm at, Ashley, the real estate agent that I mentioned, I've been like getting emails and stuff from her like weekly or whatever of like different properties that are on the market. And I'm just kind of been keeping my eye out again just to see like, is this a real, like, can I even afford anything reasonable? And she mentioned like for a timeline, like, and basically at the beginning of the year we can start like going on showings. Like that's what would make sense. And then close maybe in March. I think she said March, and then my first mortgage payment would be in May, so I wouldn't end up having to pay like 2 payments, like a rent and a mortgage, in the month of April. Anyway, all that to say, that's where I am now. I am gonna just kind of keep saving money. Like right now, what I have saved is maybe about a 5% down payment, and I mean, closing costs kind of can be a lot, so like so I need to kind of like maybe rack up a little bit more. I'm gonna try to just keep saving so that I can like add a little bit more to like the little nest egg, I guess, that I have, and just get like more tuned into the fine details to really start looking into things at the beginning of the year. So I'll check back in for an update maybe in a month or so when things are moving along. Okay, so it is now January. It's like the second week of January, I think. Yeah, January 12th. So I'm just over 90 days. I think I just looked at my countdown. It's 92 days until my lease ends, which, okay, that's actually kind of freaking me out a little bit. Like I feel like time is quickly ticking by because it was October when I was last on, and like the end of the year really did fly by. But today I went, or not even just today, this weekend, I went to 4 different open houses, which was a really good experience. So basically now that it's like the new year, I'm like, okay, I gotta get serious on like really truly looking at places, because I've just been looking at a lot of listings online, and it was really good to go see things in person. Hold on, let me let my dog out. Okay, so I was saying, now that it is like January and I have just like a few months until my lease ends, I'm trying to like be more serious about actually like looking at things, because I think I had said this earlier, but I've been like looking a lot online for honestly the past year, and I'm like, okay, I need to like see things in person. And I'm really glad that I did go to these 4 open houses this weekend, because it was a really good exercise, I guess I should say, because they were all in my neighborhood. So it's not like I had to go very far. Well, one of them was not in my neighborhood, but it wasn't super far to get to. But I'm glad I went to that one too, because it really helped me rule out like a lot of things. And I would say across the board, these 4 did. So I went to, they were all like pretty different properties. So yesterday I went to, it was a 2-bed, 1-bath, and it was in North Center, I think, but like right on the border of where North Center and Lakeview like meet. And I really personally didn't really like that unit, and I'm glad, but I am glad that I went, because online it looked like something that I would like, but then even just going into the neighborhood, I was like, oh yeah, I don't really love this area. It's not very walkable. There isn't really a lot to do right around here, and I couldn't see myself like doing like all the stuff I normally do right around there. And the unit itself was really small, like, and then when I went back and looked at the listing, I realized they didn't have square footage listed, so that made sense. But it was, I mean, it was 2-bed, 1-bath, and it felt smaller than like the current apartment I live in right now, which is a 1-bed, 1-bath. And I mean, it had 2 balconies, which like, that's great. The kitchen was pretty small, and again, I was glad I went to it though, because I could realize like, okay, I don't like the layout of this type of a unit. And I also do think I want the bathroom seemed really outdated to me, and so I was like, okay, I think that is something that's important to me. Obviously there are things you can fix, but like this was priced to in my opinion like pretty high for what it was like once I saw it. So anyway, like I said, I'm glad that I went. And then the three that I went to today, one was in the I guess it's considered a high rise. It's not like I think it maybe has like 12 or 14 floors or something, and it's in this building that I used to live not too far from, and I see units pop up pretty often like here and there. And so honestly I went to the open house to be a little bit nosy, and because like I wouldn't rule out living there, but the HOA is high. Like the unit that I looked at today on the listing, it said the HOA was like $900 something, and I was like, okay, I mean that to me is, I'm not willing to pay something like that. And then when I got there, and there was another guy that was waiting to go into the open house the same time as I was, like waiting for the agent to come out, because there was other people inside she was showing around. And so we basically toured at the same time, and she was like, well, yeah, so the HOA is actually like, there's a notice that just went out. It's actually increasing by almost 15%. So the HOA for this unit would be like $1,600 a month, which like, I was like, that's crazy. And she was like, well, it puts it in line with other, this was in Edgewater technically, in the Edgewater neighborhood. And she's like, it puts it in line with other buildings in the area. No, it doesn't. Like, sweetie, if you have to tell yourself that, that's fine. But I was like, oh, this is a hard no. And again, I'm glad that I went and got that information, because now I know when like, if I see any other units pop up in that building, I mean, the units are nice, but like, that's a no for me. I'm not willing to pay that. But there's like a special assessment that they're having to pay this year in 2025. That's like $28,000, but the previous owners are paying that. And I'm just like, that's like too much going on. So that like, again, it was good to like rule that out, and to know like but I was kind of curious, because like I said, $900 is a lot more than I would really ever want to pay for an HOA, but it has a decent amount of amenities at that building. Like they don't have a pool, but it does have like, and there's one staff that works there, now that I think about it. And I mean, they have like a nice rooftop and like a gym and stuff like that. And I think there's a movie room, I want to say, like just little amenities like that. But so I was just kind of curious to see like, okay, what do those look like in a building with an HOA like this? I'm not paying that. And then like at $1,600, like the guy, he kind of immediately said, he was like, that's another mortgage. And I was like, no, literally, like that's crazy. And then I went to another building that was like, it was only a couple blocks from where I live. I actually walk by that building all the time, but I've never paid attention to it. And the unit that I saw, like I knew I probably wouldn't necessarily want to be putting an offer in on it, but again, this is like an exploratory mission, because it was a little bit outside of the budget that I think I'm setting for myself, but I wanted to see what it looked like. But it was a walk up. It was on the second, or no, it was actually on the top floor. It was on the third floor. So it was like, they called it a penthouse unit. And I think going to that building made me realize I do want to live in a walk up. I've lived since in the like, well, 10 years now. I've lived in Chicago. I've lived in 2 walk-ups. I lived on the top floor of both of those buildings. One was like a 5th floor walk-up, which I don't think I could do that again, but I've lived in 2 walk-ups. I've lived in like what could be considered a high-rise, and then the building I live in now is kind of, it's like a mid-rise, it's only 4 floors, but it has a lot of amenities. I'm putting amenities in quotes. But I think I realized I want to live in a smaller building. I don't want to live in a high rise. And that was like, when I was in this building, I was like, okay, this is the type of place I could see myself. It feels very homey. This is like where I would want to live. And it was a 2-bed, 2-bath. It was really nice. Like it was also like a lot had been recently renovated in it. And I'm gonna kind of keep my eye on that building. I mean, I don't, just to like, now that I kind of know what it could look like on the inside, to see if any other units open up, because if that one is a 2-bed, 2-bath and like on the top floor, and it was priced like, it was like only $20,000 or $30,000 above what I would like my max of what I'd want to pay. I'm sure there might be other units that could be within like my budget in there, and there's maybe 15 units total in the building. If there's probably actually like maybe only 10 units in that building. But they also the agent was like, well, they're asking for best and final offers today by 4. So I mean, I knew, again, going into it, I wouldn't be putting an offer in on it, but it was still like a good experience to like see and like get the info about. And now like I can mentally know like this is kind of what I like. And then the last place that I went to was a high rise that was 50 something floors, and I've never lived in a building that's quite that big. My sister actually lives in a building like that, and I've had friends that live in buildings like that, so I've been in them a lot, but I've just never lived in one. And again, I'm glad I went to this because now that kind of completely ruled out to me. I don't want to live in a building that big because just like getting like to your unit, like there's just, it's a little bit too much rigmarole for me. Like it took me probably almost 5 minutes to get down the elevator from when I left the unit and to get out to like back out to the street, because this unit was on the, I mean, it had really beautiful views. It was also only a 1-bed, and I don't necessarily think I want a 1-bedroom, but I mean the listing price was really low. The HOA is a little high, but like it was a pretty decent, it was actually about the same size as my 1-bedroom, or maybe a little bit bigger actually. So a really good size 1-bed, but I like just the whole like rigmarole of waiting for like an elevator and then going down. Technically the elevator banks are split up like half of the building, but like I still had to go down like 20 something floors, and we stopped on a lot of floors, and this is on a Sunday afternoon. So like, and I was like, okay, yeah, like this is not really for me. And again, I don't really want to pay that high of an HOA. So anyway, all that to say, it was a really good fact-finding mission this weekend. I'm going to reach out to the real estate agent I've been working with this week, just to be like, hey, like I think I'm ready to like start looking at places in person. And again, now that I have a little bit of a better idea, seeing things in real life of like what I think I would and would not like. And I mean, mortgage rates kind of just went up again a little bit. So I want to like re-sit down, and like, I'm not the best budgeter in general, but like figure out really what I want to set my budget at. And cause I mean, I set my budget initially like not low, but lower, because I wanted to just be like conservative. And so I want to make sure that that still makes sense for me. And like, or do I have some wiggle room in that, and like really set like a hard, like, okay, this is like what I want to spend. And I still, even over the past 2 months, was going back and forth, like, do I want to like really buy right now? And I think it still does make the most sense for me. Also, my rent's gonna go up by like $200 if I resign, and like it's not worth, or more than $200, I think. To me, it's not worth that. Like, or no, yeah, about $200. It's not worth that to me. And I mean, I could look at like comps in the area, but it's like, okay, if I'm gonna move again and spend like $1,000, like it's really expensive to move too, like, and then probably in a couple of years move again, like what really makes the most sense in the long term for me. So anyway, that's all. I'll be back probably, and maybe like when I start going on some start going to some showings, maybe in the next couple weeks here. So it's been a few weeks, I think, since I was like gave my last update. Today is January 28th. It is, I'm just checking my stats. Oh, it's 76 days until my lease ends. And I've kind of made a lot of progress on this like home buying journey, condo buying journey in the past couple of weeks, like kind of just like unintentionally. So I went to those showings that I mentioned, and then after that I reached out to the realtor that I've been working with, just to kind of give her like my thoughts on like, hey, this is what I realized I liked, what I don't like, and I narrowed in like the areas I really wanted to live in, which is literally the neighborhood I live in now. Like I really realized I do like living in this neighborhood, and just narrowed in my search. So then she kind of set me up on a more like specialized search within MLS, like the real estate database, I guess you could say. And then I got like a digest of properties that are available that like match all of those things that I mentioned, or that I just said, those parameters that I set. So I like went through those, and you get an update twice a day. I think it was 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. if there's anything new that's been listed that fits into your like what you're looking for. And so I think she sent that, like I got those like the first one of those like the week that I reached out to her, like a couple days later, and that was probably about 2 weeks ago. And then there were a handful that I did like, and so this past weekend we went to like several showings. We ended up going to about 6 altogether, and it was like, I feel like a pretty wide variety of properties. Like, so there was like one I'd been seeing online that I couldn't figure out if I liked or not, and seeing it in person, I didn't like it at all. Like, it was really small. It was hard to tell from the photos, but the living space was really small. It was just like a weird setup. So and like it's kind of off of a really busy road, like a 4-lane busy road, which is like, I don't want to live off of a road that busy. And I mean, it was quiet, but it's just like, I don't want to walk right out of my door and then there's literally like traffic. And then there was one property that was like, it looked really beautiful. It was like kind of nice to go for some inspo. And it was at the top of my budget too. It was like $325,000. And that's kind of like almost, that's like the very, very high end of my budget. And it was like all completely renovated on the inside. So it was beautiful to look at. So I got some good ideas, but it was, again, the living space was really small. And I'm a person, like I spend most of my time in the living room. Like, I mean, besides like my workspace, like that's where I spend most of my day. I don't really hang out in my bedroom unless I'm literally like going to sleep or like getting ready, that kind of a thing. So like the living space is really important to me for it to feel like homey and livable. So that was one place that we saw. The very first place we went to, though, that was an open house there and it was pretty packed. And then the very first place we went to was an open house as well. And it was a really cute property on the inside. It again was like, it was $299,000 and that's like closer to the top of my budget. And it didn't have central air. And like, otherwise it was pretty nice, but like central air to me in this era of global boiling is kind of like a need. Like the summers are getting hot, like hot and humid. And it, with the previous owner was leaving behind 2 AC units. And my first 2 apartments, like I've lived in 4 apartments in Chicago now. My first 2 didn't have central air. They were older buildings, so like they're brick. So I mean, sure, they can be pretty decently insulated, but I just feel like I personally, like now that I've been living with central air for like 4 years now, I don't know if I could go back, especially like something that's pretty like longer term. And with my dog too, like she is a flat-nosed dog, so she gets overheated. And like and I'm home all day. Like I'm home during the middle of the day too, working. So even though it was cute, I was like, and I figured it would, and my realtor was like, this property is probably gonna like get offers on it tonight and they're probably gonna go above asking. She was like, just based on like how it looks. And I wasn't nearly passionate enough about it for that. And then I saw another place that was like much more further off the beaten path than like it was out in like Lincoln Square, Budlong Woods almost. And to get to like the closest train station, it would take like a 10, almost 15-minute walk. And I don't know if I want to do that. And like, but it was it was really, really inexpensive. It was like $225,000, I think. Yeah, $220 actually. And it was 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Like a little older looking, like the kitchen was a little interesting like in the setup, but like the rooms were pretty big. The living space wasn't huge either, but like and it was a cute little quaint building. But then I was like, I don't really want to live like this far out the way. Like I like a large reason why I like the area I live in right now is because I'm like 1 block from the train, like from the Red Line, which is a pretty busy, like that's like a main, people like to hate on the Red Line in Chicago, but it's a very main thoroughfare. It's easy to get a lot of places, especially get downtown, and like close to like 2 main bus lines. Well, I'm actually close to like 4 main bus lines now. So that isn't like and I don't have a car. So like I used public transportation. So that's like important to me as well. And then I think this was, and then another place we went to, I'm trying to think of if there was one other place that we went to that it was in Roscoe Village. Again, it was nice. It was on the higher end. It was over 300 and something. And again, 2 bed, 2 bath. I don't think it had central air either. And it was fine, but to me, it wasn't like, I wasn't feeling moved of like, based on the price point. And I think that one's probably just about the location because I don't love Roscoe Village. Did I say Roscoe Square? I meant Roscoe Village. Roscoe Village is like fine to me, but to me, it's not all that to be like paying a premium for personally. And the place, and then the one other place that I went to, this was like, I think this was the second place we visited. And it's a place that I actually just put an offer in on today. So I mean, we'll see how it goes, but this is like my first, like foray into this. But it is, again, 2 bed, 2 bath. I think it's about 1,100 square feet. And it is technically a garden unit, which I never even give garden units the time of day. But this one is essentially ground, it's like basically first floor. Like it's considered a garden unit, but it's only 2 steps down from like the main level. Like you walk into the unit and you take 2 steps down and like, then you're inside, like so they're technically below grade. But like the windows in the living space are huge, so it gets a lot of sunlight. The bedroom windows are smaller. And like, kind of like I just said though, I don't spend a ton of time in my bedroom. So that is like, to me, was fine. And like, there are some ways that I can brighten it up. The bathroom needs a serious paint job. And the kitchen has pretty nice appliances. The countertops are nice. The cabinets, I don't love the color of. They're just a little too yellow, like a little too, they're giving 2000s to me, but like they're like on the surface level, they're really nice. So like they could easily like be painted, switch out some knobs and stuff on it. And it's priced to me like, the only thing it doesn't have is like a true outdoor space. It technically has a patio, but since like I said, it's that like garden, like first floor level unit, when you like step out, you're like underneath the decks, like above you. So I could see that, I mean, it's January, so it's winter time. I could see that like a couple of the units down, or one unit down there, it looked like they had a space that in like the spring and summer, or when it's nicer out, they probably have something set up. Like I could see like a grass turf area set up. They just didn't have any chairs or anything out right now. And so it would almost be like an under deck type of like alcove that you could probably make that little space into. So I like, as I've been thinking about this like a lot more though too, I'm like, I know like realistically, like as a first time home buyer with like, I'm not made of money, I'm not going to get every single thing that I want in like this my first ever place. And I'm also trying to be really cognizant about my budget because like I said, it's January 2025. The economy is in, I don't know, there's just like a lot that is very unsure. I feel like in terms of like everything that's going on in the government right now, and like I just want to make sure that like I'm putting myself in a space where like I'm not overextending myself to where I'm not going to be like feeling like I'm gouging money or anything, because like this was I don't remember if I said the price, but it's like priced at $265 and my realtor sent in the offer for $250 with also like $5,000 worth of seller credits to like help reduce my like closing costs. But at that price point, like the monthly payment and everything will be right around what I'm paying for rent right now anyway, and I can comfortably pay this. And I like do blow a lot of money kind of too, so like I need to like I have room in my budget to like make that work really easily for me. And again, I just don't want to be in a situation where I'm suddenly like I feel like I can't go on any trips, I feel like I can't buy anything. To me, like that is not worth it. But like not knowing if I'm spending X amount of dollars that I'm already pretty much spending on rent, but like putting it able to build like a little bit of equity, that would be nice. And then on my like next place, I can get something even bigger and better. So anyway, all that to say, I'm being realistic and like I know I won't get every single thing on my checklist, but if I can get 80% of them, I'm all good. So especially at like a lower price point. So anyway, the offer went in today. We'll see what happens from here. But like I kind of wasn't really expecting to like move so quickly, not move so quickly, but just to see something that I did really like and be like, okay, yeah, I like this. Like, yeah, sure, let's send in an offer. This has also been on the market for like 3 months. So I am curious too of like if like what they will come back with, if anything. So we'll see. And like, who knows, maybe in a few weeks I could be a true first-time home buyer. So I think it's been probably about 3 weeks since I was last on, I want to say, and a lot has happened in that 3 weeks. It's been like pretty stressful, I will say. So I'm pretty sure the last update that I came on, I had said that I had just put in an offer on that condo that I mentioned, or on one of the condos that I'd viewed or that I'd gone to a showing for. And after 2 weeks of like negotiating back and forth, my offer was finally accepted. I mean, I came in still a little under what the listing price was. The sellers were just like a little tough, and they were trying to like delay accepting the offer to see if they were gonna get a better offer, and they did eventually get an offer higher than what I had first offered. But like it was just the whole like they just were a little obnoxious, to be honest. And it was just interesting because the property had been sitting, it's been sitting for months, so it's not like, and I think come to find out it's been sitting for so long because they just haven't been accepting any offers. And so they finally did, like, their agent even was like, what do we got to do to lock this in? So anyway, my offer got accepted, or maybe it was just last week. Yeah, it was just last week that my offer got accepted. So it was 2 weeks of like waiting to hear back. And in that time for like a week, I was just kind of like waiting, and I was still like passively looking at other listings and stuff. And I did go view one other place, but I was like things are starting to get expensive. Like I feel like this was the sweet spot that I found of like the beginning of the year, but also right before like the world is about to get very expensive in general. Like inflation is on the rise. Our current administration's policies are inflationary, so it's gonna get even worse. But I was like, a lot of the properties that I was seeing come on, like a lot of the listings that I was seeing come on were all like $300,000 and over, which that's kind of was like the tippity top of my budget. And again, when I was like just thinking about like, okay, like thinking about like how everything going on and like how I want to be spending money, I was like, I don't want to go that high. And I mean, that is still only about like half of what I was actually pre-approved for. There's no way I would go any higher than that, but I will end up netting out my monthly payment. I mean, I'm still going through like the loan approval and underwriting process and all of that, but my monthly payment, including like HOA and everything, should end up being like pretty much like maybe $100 more than what I'm currently paying in rent. But honestly, I think pretty much the same as what I would pay if I renewed my lease, because my rent's gonna go up here. So I was like, that is like 100%, like I feel so comfortable with that, because obviously I'm paying that right now and able to save money and still do everything else that I'm doing. So I think the listing price was $265,000, and then like we offered, my realtor said like to go in with an offer of like $250 and like have them, and then I think it was like a $5,000 seller credit basically for like closing costs that they countered back at that. Like they countered really high back, and my realtor kind of went back and forth with them for a while without even kind of coming to me about it. And then ultimately where we landed after a lot of that back and forth was $258,000 as the purchase price and no seller credits, which I was obviously like, that would be nice. But I was like, I was just starting to get nervous that I was like, I feel like I'm going to end up spending more money somehow anyway. And is this like my perfect forever dream home? No, but it's like cute and good enough for like what I need. Like it's 2-bedroom, 1 bath. There's some things that are like kind of outdated that like I'm definitely gonna like paint, change a lot of the light fixtures, some of the like kitchen, like a lot of the knobs and stuff. I might stain the kitchen cabinets. So I'm gonna put some sweat equity into it as well, like just like update it so that it can look like how I want it to look. But even when I was looking at some places that were on the more expensive end, there were still things that I was like, okay, I don't love that. I would change it to this, and this anyway. So I'm like, if I'm gonna change things, why just not spend a little bit less money than like kind of max out my budget and then still make some changes? And I know who I am. Like I know I would want to like, I just know myself. I love a DIY. I love like curating a space. So I knew I would end up doing stuff like that anyway. And it's also, the location is perfect. It's literally down the street from where I live now. I really like this neighborhood and I wanted to stay here. It's just, like I said, it's getting really expensive. Like in Uptown on the north side, it's like, I'll be at a different train stop, but still like, I think less than a 5-minute walk to the train, a couple buses that are right there, still like a 10-15 minute walk to the lakefront, a dog park close by, like kind of all of the things. Like I don't need to change anything about my life and the way I live my life at all, which is also ideal. So kind of is working out well. I mean, I will, like I said, once you, like everything's been pretty stressful, like once you accept the offer. So it's like, I got my offer accepted. Then it's like in Illinois, you need an attorney. So luckily my realtor gave me recommendations for like an attorney, an inspector, all of that. And so I had the inspection yesterday. There were a couple of like issues that they called out. And so like my attorney, in Illinois, you have an attorney to do all of this back and forth, like negotiating after you are under contract. So they're kind of going to go back to the sellers and say it's these few things that like need to be addressed before closing. And then I'm in the process of like loan approval and underwriting right now. And like, I keep being panicked about it, but I'm like, I have a decent salary. This purchase price isn't even double what my salary is. And I have a decent, like my credit score is in the mid 700s. So I'm like, I think I'll be fine. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's just like gonna be the interest rate at the end of the day, which the interest rates are still pretty high right now. And that's also why I kind of wanted to go on a little bit of the lower end of my budget, because I wanted my monthly payment again to feel comfortable. I just like don't want to feel stretched and feel like I can't do anything besides sit in my house all day, every day. So like I said, I just did the inspection. Yesterday, I had to like submit all this paperwork. My W-2s, a bunch of bank statements, like my, what else? Did I have to submit my tax returns? No. Oh, a bunch of pay stubs. Like I did have to pay some earnest money already, $1,000. And like just thinking about all the money I'm gonna have to come up with for closing, which I mean, yes, I have this money, but like I just am like, oh God, this is like kind of stressing me out a little bit. I'm getting nervous. So anyway, hopefully everything will continue moving along smoothly. The next time I'll be back for an update will probably be hopefully when I'm close to closing. So like that'll be in probably like 2 weeks or so from now. Unless anything traumatic happens in the meantime, but we're on our way, folks. I almost like didn't really think this would really happen, so fingers crossed and that it all goes smoothly from here. So it's been another few weeks since my last update. Today is March 10th, and I just checked back, it was February 20th. So it's been about 2.5 weeks. And I had actually, now that I'm realizing it's only been 2.5 weeks, it's felt like a lifetime. I'm not gonna lie. But I am officially at the point of closing. So today is Monday. I should be closing on Friday. I'm saying should be because I still haven't gotten like the final day and time, or like time confirmation. So assuming that it will be Friday because they like asked me my availability and everything. But I am really really looking forward to just getting this whole process over with, because it is like a pretty, like, I feel like people do say like going through the home buying process is stressful. It truly is. I'm gonna close my door. Okay, so it really is, and I think it's stressful. At least it felt stressful to me because I have never done this before. Like I said, I'm obviously a first-time home buyer, so I've never gone through this process before, and also I'm obviously doing it by myself. So like this, all the information and everything like relies on me. I will say I am someone though, I'm pretty good at making decisions, so I don't mind having to make decisions by myself, but it's just like, I don't know, it's just stressful. It's like I'm having to talk to all these different people about things that I really don't know about, and I don't like not knowing things in general. So I mean, I did a lot of research before I started the process, but then even along the way, I was going on the first time home buyer Reddit thread a lot. But I feel like it's really hard to get good information about what does this mean, this document, this term or whatever. And even like asking like my realtor or lender or whatever, I feel like people in general, I ask a lot of questions, and I know I over explain things, but it's just because I want people to understand things, and a lot of other people just don't communicate or operate that way. So anyway, since my last update, in that time, like I said, I can't believe it's only been 2.5 weeks. I had to like submit a bunch of information for like getting my loan approved. It was honestly pretty easy and basic information though. It was like my tax returns from the last few years, my bank statements from the past like 60 days, I think. I had to get homeowner's insurance, so like I had to go through that process, like get like different quotes and stuff. What else did I have to submit in? Oh, like, and along with my bank accounts, all of my assets. So that's literally just like my 401k and IRA. I don't have any other assets because I'm not rich. And I had to do an inspection. The property got appraised and like it met the appraisal. It's interesting with appraisals though. I feel like mine appraised for the exact value of the home, and when I was doing, I was like, okay, that's a little weird. And when I did some research, most of them come in at value. But as I was reading through the appraisal, I was like, okay, this seems like it could maybe be valued a little bit higher. But most importantly, it seems like property values in the neighborhood are pretty like regularly increasing, which that's good, and like have a lot of potential to continue to increase. So it feels like a good investment. But although the way the economy is right now, who knows if anything is a good investment. So I had to do that. And even like reading through the appraisal, a lot of the stuff I'm like, I was literally like I said, I'm someone, I want to understand everything. Reading through the appraisal document, even all the loan documents and everything I got, if I didn't understand something, I was literally would Google the word, Google the phrase, because I want to know what I'm signing and like, what I'm like, I'll sign it, but I just want to understand it. So I kind of went through all of that like back and forth. And then I'm trying to think of, I feel like it was all such a blur, and I feel like I've honestly been like not sleeping great for the past couple of weeks, just like a little anxious, because it's like, okay, what if for some reason my loan doesn't get approved or this all falls apart, which it could still fall apart at this point. But it's just like really stressful. It's like, well, I obviously need somewhere to live. So anyway, as of today, my loan officer said I'm clear to close. My attorney reached out to me with like the paralegal to schedule my closing appointment for Friday. So at this point, the last things I need to do, and I kind of was alluding to this earlier, but it is also kind of stressful. Again, I'm someone that likes to understand things. I like to just like, for lack of a better word, be in charge, like make my own decisions. And it is kind of frustrating a little bit, or hard to just like let go and have to have all these other people make decisions for you, or do all, it's like, I want to know what's going on behind the scenes. Tell me, like explain it to me. And I just like, not that I'm going to change anything, but I just want to know what's going on. And so it is a little bit like, hope everything's fine. And I just don't really like operating like that. But that is just kind of a me thing. But so it's kind of like just waiting in purgatory. But anyway, the last thing that I'll need to do is get a certified check to take with me to my closing appointment for like all my closing costs, my down payment and all of that, which just feels like so much money. And like it feels like, I mean, I'm basically gonna clean out my savings account. Granted, I am getting this week, literally the day after I need to get my my like cashier or certified check, or cashier's check, whatever. That's what I meant to say, cashier's check. I get my like annual bonus, which it will literally, it'll basically like pretty much replenish all of the money that I'm taking out. So that's good. Like pretty much like fully fund back up my savings account, for the most part, but I'm putting 5% down, and then my closing costs are about another $8,000 or so altogether. So it is going to be about $20,000 that I am going to be signing away later this week, which is kind of scary. So, the fun stuff I've been doing though is, I have these paint, I don't know if you can see them, some paint samples up on the wall, because I do need to paint. Like the paint colors right now are like pretty scary, in my personal opinion. And I want to like brighten it up in there. So I'm gonna paint before I move in, change out some of the light fixtures, and like the like bathroom stuff needs to be updated too. And I have some other small projects I'll probably work on after I move in. But I want to change the locks on my like the day that I close too. So I'm gonna like this week also. I've decided those are the paint colors I want to go to get, or that I want to get. They're from Claire Paint, which is like a woman-owned, black-owned paint business that my friend Leah mentioned to me, and I really like the color, so I'm going with those. But I'm going to try to get that stuff together, so then basically once I close, I can almost probably like the next day or so really get into doing my little projects. But I just wanted to give an update on where I am for now, and so hopefully the next time you see me, I will either be getting ready to go close, or we'll have already closed and be a homeowner. And just like that, she is a homeowner, and by she I mean me. So today was my closing day. It's like well into the afternoon or evening. It's 6 p.m. at this point. My appointment was at 10 a.m. but I just had like a hectic few days. And like kind of a hectic day. I also am like maybe a little bit sick. So I'm just now coming back to do an update. So shoot, now I'm forgetting when I was last on. I can't remember if it was earlier this week or if it was last week, but I had my closing today. I got the official clear to close. Today's Friday. I got the official, also like, I already have a smoke detector beeping. But anyway, I got the official clear to close from my lender on Monday. And then on Tuesday, I got the official like time and date of my closing. Like they asked me what day of the week worked best. And then I said Friday. This is like what worked best for my work schedule. And then I got the time and everything from my attorney who had, I guess, like worked with the title company to give me the day and time and location. And then I got all that information confirmed on Tuesday. So, and then I think it was on Wednesday, or maybe it was just yesterday actually, I got the like final figures from my lender of like what my cash to close was. And it was actually a couple $1,000s less than what was estimated last week. So we love that. And then I sent a wire transfer because that was just a little bit easier for me than a cashier's check to the title company for my final like payment and for my what I had to pay for cash to close. And I say it was easier for me to do that because I have Capital One, which is an online bank. So there aren't any actual branches in Chicago that I could like walk into to get a cashier's check. So I would have to order it online, which they come the next day. But I just, that felt a little too risky. Like if FedEx gets delayed or whatever, then I'm waiting on my check. So I just did a wire transfer, and also I literally did it on my computer at home. And it was a $5 or $10 difference, like more for the wire transfer. So worth it to me. And then I'm trying to think of what else happened. And then I met my realtor at the property, which I'm in right now, this morning at 9. We did like a final walkthrough and everything, just to like make sure everything still looked fine. Like no pipes were burst or anything crazy like that, or nothing had been vandalized. And then we went downtown. The title office was downtown. And I actually got some documents to pre-sign. Like they got sent over to me yesterday and I read through them, and then I got like a notification to actually sign them this morning. So I did that like before, like when I woke up this morning. So that was a pretty big chunk of it. And then I signed, maybe spent a half hour, if even that, like in the office with my my realtor and my attorney, because I don't know if I said this earlier in the vlog, but in Illinois you do have to have an attorney for real estate transactions, so they kind of like go through all the paperwork with you and everything and all the legalese. And so we went back and forth about that. Like I signed some stuff, and then honestly the bulk of the time we spent sitting there waiting for like some documentation for the sellers to finalize, which I think I might have talked about the sellers for this property earlier in the vlog. They have been like kind of a nightmare. Not a nightmare, that might be stretching it, but not much. They just have been really difficult and like they don't seem like very nice people at it, which yes, this is business, but they seem like kind of the worst of the worst. So I do feel like karma will come back to them at some point. But anyway, so then we got that finalized. I got like a thick packet of info, which I think I left back in my apartment. Like a thick packet of basically everything that I'd signed in the office. They gave me a hard copy of, which I guess I get it. But like it's 2025. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all that paperwork, and I already have it in my email, I'm pretty sure. And then I got the keys and we were done. And I did go to lunch with my realtor. Like we just went to a place downtown that was like right around the corner as like a celebratory lunch. I went to Sephora, of course, came home, and I was honestly exhausted because I didn't sleep. I have not been sleeping great, I feel like, for the past few weeks, but especially last night, I'm not feeling good. And so I kind of just like lounged a lot of the day. But now I'm back here because I want to change the locks. I had like a laundry list of things not a laundry list, but like a hit list. If you like, anyone that knows me for real knows that I'm a busybody, but I also like to have like a plan. So like a week ago, I made a plan of everything that I want to do up until the day that I move here, because there's a decent amount of stuff I want to like prep. And I'm pretty much doing it all by myself. So it was like getting overwhelming to me thinking of everything I needed to do. So I have like a list, and I had a decent amount of stuff I was going to do today, but like I just simply didn't feel like doing any of it. So all I am going to do is I'm going to change the locks, and that's it. And then like really get into the weeds of like prepping everything to move in, starting probably on Sunday. My lease is up in almost exactly a month from today. So I want to try, I'm gonna try to give myself 3 weeks to like, I basically want to paint the whole space, because like I want to paint the whole space. I want to change out like a lot of the fixtures in the bathroom, pretty much all like the whole bathroom I'm pretty much gonna like refresh. And I'm changing like the overhead light fixtures in everywhere, like in this main room I'm in, and then in both the bedrooms. And those are the big things I want to do before I move in. And I just feel like that stuff's easier to do without furniture. And then I'll have about like a week and a half to kind of have everything cleared out of my apartment before like my lease is over. And obviously I still have to work every day, so like that gives me some time to not feel like super stressed, but like, and do things thoughtfully, because like I said, these sellers are kind of a pain, and you can I can tell the things that they like. I'm also like, I'm very much like I also like pay attention to like the details. I'm very much into like details in general, but I can see like a lot of the baseboards, the way that they painted them look horrible. Like the white is going up onto like the wall. Like there's just like a lot of little stuff like that. I don't like the color that's in here on the wall, and they also did like a pretty like choppy job on it. I also want to get the place like deep cleaned before I move in too. Like I'm gonna hire cleaners. I'm gonna be starting a new series on my channel. I think I'm gonna call it like making my house a home, making my condo a home, or something like that. Like I think in the first video in that will be kind of all the stuff that I'm doing to prep, like starting basically this weekend to move in. And so that will be like a video separate from this, and then I'm gonna kind of continue to like share all the little updates and stuff that I'm doing, because like I said, I like to do a lot of home stuff. I want my place to like look nice, especially now it's mine. Like I can do literally whatever I want to it, and I love a DIY, I love a project, but I'm gonna do pretty much all of it myself. There might be a couple of things that I have to hire someone to do, if that. And I'm just like really excited to like make this space my own, and like my own for a long time, not having to think like, oh, in a year is my rent gonna go up and then I'm gonna have to move again, or like whatever. And I also don't have neighbors on either side of me. I only have neighbors above, so it's gonna be like a little bit quieter, I think. This building seems very quiet in general. And then even like I don't know, it's kind of crazy, because when I was thinking about it today, I was like, I've really maybe only spent an hour and a half here in this apartment total before I bought it, and now it's like mine and I own it. And then when I was just walking around it earlier, I was like, wait, I actually like this more than I thought I did. As I will say, I feel like I got a pretty good deal for what I got, the neighborhood that I live in and all of that. So to wrap this all up, I don't think I shared the details on like the final costs and everything. So I I think I said already, this is a 2-bed, 2-bath, and neighborhood that I live in, like I've lived in this neighborhood for a while and it's getting really, really expensive. Like it's uptown, if anyone that's familiar with Chicago. And I've lived here maybe for like 5 years now. And when I moved here, it was just starting to get expensive and it's getting more and more expensive. But I love uptown. It's like a cute little, really diverse neighborhood on the north side, a cute little like pocket right off the lake. But when I was starting to look, a lot of the things I was finding that I liked were like $300,000 and up. But I happened to find this place, and I think it's kind of was just like a hidden gem, for lack of a better term, because it's a garden. It's considered a garden unit, but it's not below ground. It's like at grade. So I feel like it probably got missed by a lot of people. And like I said, there's a lot of like details that the sellers could have done to make this place look better. Like the lighting in here is horrible. But it's like because there's a different color light bulb in every room. But like those were all things that I could look past and be like, no, I can like make this my own. So the listing price for this was $265,000, which is also almost $100,000 more than it was listed 10 years ago, the last time someone bought it. So that in itself is crazy, but it was listed at $265,000. After like some negotiating back and forth, I got it for $258,000. More like mortgage rates have been like a hot topic, and I kind of got in like right when they were starting to drop. They're a little bit lower now than when I got my rate locked in, not by a lot. So maybe if we'll see how the economy continues to go, maybe I'll be able to refinance in a year or so. But my mortgage rate is just under 7%. It's like 6.9 something, 6.8 something maybe, and I put down 5%. So in total, like my closing costs ended up being around $20,000 that I had to like in total, including like my down payment and like all the closing costs and everything, and including like paying like taxes and all that's like figured into your closing costs. But I say all that to say, like, yes, that sounds like a big number, but I feel like becoming a homeowner, condo owner, whatever, stepping into home ownership, to me, at least when it felt like something, and I feel like it's talked about as something that is so unattainable, which it is. It can absolutely be out of reach, but there are ways to make it work for you. And like, you can put down as little as 3%, as much as 20% if you, but like, I knew I was never going to be able to save 20% for like anything. Like, I don't think I will ever, it would be years and years and years. And by the time I could save that much, housing would be so much more expensive than it already is. So I felt good about like the money that I like still have savings in my savings account and everything. And my monthly payment is going to be almost exactly what I've been paying in rent, which is kind of crazy. And like, I have more space, and it's also something I'm earning equity in. So all in all, I feel good about this. I'm really excited, and I'm looking forward to making this place my home. So anyway, if you watched to the end of this vlog, I don't know how long this is even gonna end up being, because I feel like I talked so much on every like check-in that I did, but I just thought this would be helpful to share. Also, it'll be cool for me to look back on it, but I thought it would be helpful to share because when I was like starting to look into like becoming a homeowner or like buying a place, I was having a really hard time finding people that were in my similar space in life. Like, there were a lot of couples, like being a single person, I wasn't seeing a lot, and like people weren't really talking about like how you get it. Like, it was like a lot of lenders or realtors, but not real people sharing like the stories and information. And the more that we share, the more we can all learn. So anyway, all that being said, make sure to check back if you want to see the rest of my series of making this place my home. If you liked this video, which I hope you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to see more content from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.